Have you ever felt like a love didn't just stumble into your life by chance, as if that person had a bigger role in your journey, like you shared something that goes beyond this lifetime, but still demands very real choices in the here and now? That's exactly the kind of feeling the skies are activating today. With Venus conjunct Saturn in Pisces, the universe shines a light on our deepest relationships, but not with rose-colored glasses, with brutal honesty. Today, love demands structure. It demands maturity. It demands truth. If you're in a relationship, you might feel the need to define, clarify, stabilize. If you're on your own, you might feel the call for something with purpose, not just passion. This conjunction is a turning point in matters of the heart. It shows what's ready to last and what's only survived because you haven't had the courage to face what needs to change. It's time to choose with awareness and to love with soul-level commitment. Venus meeting Saturn isn't an invitation to get swept away. It's a wake-up call. Venus rules love, pleasure, what we value in others and in ourselves. Saturn rules boundaries, responsibilities, the unspoken contracts that uphold what truly matters. And in Pisces, the sign of deep waters, empathy, transcendence. This meeting takes on spiritual and karmic tones. But don't be fooled. Even in such a fluid and sensitive sign, this conjunction demands clarity. It puts a mirror up to your relationships and asks, does this love have structure? Is this connection mutual? Does this have a foundation to last? If the answer is yes, it gets stronger. If it's no, the bond may quietly but inevitably fall apart. Saturn doesn't force, it reveals. And when it meets Venus, anything emotionally unstable starts to crack. This transit matures our bonds, it calls for serious choices, and reminds us that real love has shape, limits, and responsibility. Today, you might feel the weight of true love. And it's not because it hurts, it's because it matters. This Venus-Saturn conjunction in Pisces brings a rare realization. Loving isn't just about feeling, it's about holding, it's choosing, day after day, to stay present, even when it's hard, even when it hurts. Meaningful relationships aren't just built on chemistry, they're built on shared values, emotional groundwork, and truths revealed over time. If there's someone in your life who challenges you, reflects you, forces you to grow, they might be helping you fulfill something bigger than you can currently understand. And if you're alone, this moment might be asking you to reevaluate what you've been settling for in relationships. Maybe you're finally ready to stop accepting less, to say no to what pulls you off center, and yes, to what dares your soul to evolve. This conjunction asks, are you in a relationship because you're afraid of being alone, or because there's a soul-level commitment there? Are you ready to hold love, or do you just want to be loved without effort? Because the kind of love being called for now isn't easy, but it's real. And this kind of love doesn't show up every day. It comes when you're ready to let go of illusion and dive into something that demands presence. Today, the cosmos is saying, stop chasing love that soothes and start choosing love that sustains. This conjunction isn't just about romantic love, it's about values. What you've been calling important, does it still resonate with who you've become? Or are you still holding on to patterns, relationships, and even lifestyles just because you're afraid to change? Venus in Pisces invites you to feel deeply, but Saturn demands discernment. This union calls for a serious review of what you've been valuing, not just in your relationships, but within yourself. Maybe you'll realize you're still fighting for something that no longer feels like you. Maybe you're clinging to a kind of love you only learned to want, but never truly chose. Or maybe you're finally ready to let go of what gave you security for years, but now only holds you back. The question is no longer, what do I want? The real question is, what do I value that actually represents me? Now's the time to reassess priorities, redefine affection, and mature your concept of love, because what you uphold today shapes what you attract tomorrow. There's a kind of love you won't see in movies or read about in letters, the kind that says no. Saturn teaches us that boundaries are love too, especially in Pisces, where everything tends to blur, merge, and dissolve. If you're afraid to set boundaries because you think you'll lose someone, ask yourself, who are you losing when you say yes to everything? This transit invites you to honor yourself, to realize that sustainable love is the one that respects emotional, physical, and spiritual boundaries. Saying no when something compromises your integrity, stopping the cycle of giving to someone who can't receive, creating real agreements with those you love, not just vague expectations. These are the acts that build lasting bonds. Don't confuse boundaries with coldness. Don't confuse self-containment with emotional distance. Those who truly love learn how to preserve themselves. And today, Saturn is teaching you exactly that. To love with presence, without disappearing in the process. This conjunction happens in the most ethereal sign of the zodiac, Pisces. Here, love wants to transcend, to dream, to dissolve into another. But Saturn doesn't allow escape. He anchors, he defines. He reminds us that surrender is only possible when there's a foundation. This aspect triggers a deep tension between the desire to lose yourself in someone and the need to stay whole while loving. Today, you might feel a powerful urge to dive into a connection, to trust, to surrender. But right after comes the check-in. Is this real? Is it mutual? Is it grounded? This transit teaches that spiritual love isn't chaotic. It can be light, but it must be true. And truth can be heavy. Saturn in Pisces doesn't stop you from loving. It just insists that you love with your feet on the ground. If you're in a relationship, this might be the moment to have important conversations, to define what you are, where you're going, and what each of you is truly willing to give. If you're single, maybe it's time to admit that the fantasy you've been clinging to needs to make room for a new reality, because the love you dream of can only exist if you're willing to build it with maturity. Not every bond that's made it this far is meant to continue. And what's being tested now isn't love itself, it's its foundation. The Venus-Saturn conjunction places every relationship in front of a mirror. And this mirror doesn't just reflect what's beautiful, it shows what's been ignored, postponed, or kept quiet. You might notice someone drifting away without explanation, a crucial conversation happening out of nowhere, or a shaky connection suddenly becoming stronger. These are fate's tests. Saturn doesn't impose, he watches. And what stands firm with maturity gains real solidity. If a bond survives this transit, it's because it's aligned with your soul path. But if something ends, it's not a failure, it's a release. It means you're finally ready to welcome only what's real. We all carry an emotional script, a relational pattern that plays out almost on autopilot. Maybe you always give too much, or always run when you start to feel. Maybe you settle for less than you deserve out of fear of being alone. Or maybe you want something to work so badly, you ignore every sign it won't. This transit is both an invitation and a reckoning. It's time to break the cycle. Venus in Pisces reveals the desire to love. Saturn shows what needs healing before that love can truly happen. Today, you have the chance to choose differently, to stop romanticizing pain, to stop staying in relationships that shrink you, to stop giving out of emptiness, and start committing with clarity. Emotional healing begins when you stop repeating and start choosing with truth. Maybe you're feeling a weight in your relationships, a sense of discouragement, silence, doubt, a distance that doesn't make sense. Don't mistake this for a lack of love. It might just be a sign that you're maturing. Light love can still be deep, but mature love sometimes feels heavy. It's heavy because it asks for your full presence, because it demands honesty, because it makes you look inward before you ask for anything outward. This is the moment to accept that love isn't just emotion, it's structure, it's foundation, it's a commitment to what's real. If love feels hard right now, maybe it's because, for the first time, you're actually learning how to love for real. And that changes everything. This transit is happening in Pisces, a sign of intuition, surrender, and the unseen. And while the North Node isn't exactly conjunct this aspect, it still influences the bigger picture. You're being called to walk with more purpose, but here's a hard, freeing truth. You can't take everyone with you. Some connections were essential in past chapters. They were healing, they were shelter, they were momentum. But now, they might be holding you back. They may have already served their purpose. Venus and Saturn in Pisces ask for the courage to face this without guilt, without romanticizing, without clinging to someone out of fear, without staying out of attachment. If someone is by your side and growing with you, they stay. If not, then love now means letting go, because your destiny is moving. And only those who are ready to walk at your pace can follow you into the next chapter. Today, the skies aren't speaking of promises, they're speaking of foundations. This conjunction between Venus and Saturn is the moment when love stops being just a feeling and becomes a decision. Life is asking you to love with more maturity, to choose with more awareness, to say yes only to what's grounded, and to say no to what no longer walks beside you. This is soul-level commitment. It's not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about the courage to be honest and the surrender of someone who knows that love without truth can't stand the test of time. Today, you have the chance to plant a new emotional cycle, a kind of love that doesn't weigh you down because it demands, but eases your path because it builds. If this video spoke to your soul, drop a comment below. I choose the love that sustains me. That phrase is a pact with your emotional evolution, a sign that you're ready to leave the fantasy behind and build something that stays, even when the days get tough. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because astrology isn't here to predict your future, it's here to align you with it. See you in the next one.